And I think I'll pass the floor first to Ben to do some intros. Yeah, Ben.
Thank you very much, Chris. Good morning to all of our colleagues in the Caribbean, bright and early over there. Thank you so much for being with us today. So as Chris said, this training or this online training series, which you've seen a number of emails on, is taking place now for the next 4 weeks primarily, the next 4 Tuesdays. And we'll take a deep dive into several different topics within the realms of e-commerce and selling online. So obviously this activity is part of the Alliances for Coconut Industry Development Program, as well as the ACP Business Friendly program as well. So we will tailor some of the training towards coconuts and cacao or cocoa or chocolates, whichever one you are involved in. But it's so great to see many of you from across the region. This training is obviously, I think, a very, very important and relevant part of our work, especially as it relates to market development and commercial alliances. So we have invited companies and institutions from across the Caribbean involved in both coconuts, cocoa, and beyond. And really, we encourage participation from all of you. Please be as vocal as possible today. This training really is for you and for your benefit. And we really also want to take feedback from you as we go through. Christina will go into much more detail than me. I'm just here to make the introductory opening remarks. But as I said, we're all very happy to have you all with us here today and for the future sessions in e-commerce, which, as I said, is a critical part of everything that we are doing together, right from the production level through to the processing and development of value-added products. Obviously, what all of us are most interested in is the market and how we can drive our businesses forward. So with that, I also have in the room with me William and Leora, who you all know well. But with that, with those remarks, welcome again to all of you, and I'll hand back to Chris. So over to you, Chris. Thanks again.
Thank you, Ben. Great. So let me introduce first the team, the e-commerce team. Ben has already introduced William and Leora, who you are already familiar with. But here I want to introduce the team that's going to be working with you in this series of webinars. I'll pass the word to our speakers later, but we have Fabian here in the call, who is an international e-commerce consultant working at ITC, at the International Trade Center, for already a few years with experience all over the world. Then we have Rachel Rennie, who is the managing director at Market Movers, and she's also working here as an e-commerce consultant. And myself, who I work as an e-commerce program advisor at ITC, so managing e-commerce projects also around the world. So you'll see our faces during these trainings, especially Fabian and Rachel, who are going to deliver the technical content. What we want to achieve through this activity is to help you first create transactional websites on Shopify. It's a platform that we've chosen for this project based on a few criteria. I'll explain it in a bit. And we want you also not just to have to create this transactional website, but also to have it optimized, ready for international markets. We want to make sure that you are going to be able to have a working website, and the customers are going to have no issue about buying from you. And then we also want to help you in the distribution side. Let's say that we want to help you set up a channel that's synchronized and that works perfectly with the solution, the e-commerce solution on Shopify, so that when you deliver, when you sell your products in the US and Europe, it's a seamless, it's a very natural flow. You don't have any problem, and it's perfectly synchronized with your website. So these are our main goals here through this series of webinars, to help you have an optimized transactional website and set up a distribution channel. Shopify. So what is Shopify and why we chose it? For those of you who are not so familiar with e-commerce, well, Shopify is one of the most popular platforms, most popular websites to have a transactional store. That means that it's a platform where you can sell and buy, and there is like a flow of money, let's say, going through the site. So Shopify allows you to create a simple website, and also not so simple, but it's easy to manage because it's very user friendly, and it helps you to have this nice window to international markets, to online markets. So it also has a lot of integrations with other solutions, not just distribution system, other solutions that we will also show you in this webinars. But the distribution is what really interests us, because there are some solutions that are integrated on Shopify that have very competitive rates, and they provide with a very good process. Also, what we like about Shopify is that it's trustworthy, it's fast, it has a very good support customer service, and it's very intuitive to use. You'll see when you create a store on Shopify, you can easily like select different templates, go to the backend, which is very intuitive, and be able to modify the content yourself. And we've worked a lot in different projects with this solution, especially with small and medium-sized businesses who do not necessarily have a team to be in charge of e-commerce. They've done it themselves on top of all the other work that you have to do in your business, and they managed to do it. So we really trust this solution as a way for you to move forward. And in some cases, you might already have a website, maybe created on WordPress, for instance, or on Wix. You can easily, like migrate your content there on Shopify. So this is another solution that we will explore in the upcoming days. And of course, if you have another solution, you can also use the knowledge that we will share today to populate your platform. But we encourage you to be using this one. How we want to support. So what I want to make clear is that this series of webinar is not just a series of webinars per se. We are also going to do some more work later with selected companies. So first, during this month and July, we are going to do a series of group training, which is open to everyone in this call. So we're going to have an event now on how to stand out online. Then we'll have another one in July the 4th, another one on the 11th, and another one on the 18th. Here we are going to again focus on Shopify, but the content that we learn is going to be valid for other platforms. We're going to show you how to stand out online with a lot of examples, which I think is what makes it important, what makes it good for each company to learn, that you're going to see examples from companies in the region, how they are doing, so that you can see what the trends are as well. We're also going to explore the logistics part of it, the pricing and competition, and then also how to advertise for e-commerce and how to activate the sales. But this will be all virtual webinars of 2 hours duration that we are going to record again for those of you who just joined, so that you can rewatch them later. After each of these sessions, we'll give you an assignment that you're invited to do. Of course, the more you do, the more active you are, the more chances you will have to get selected to the next phase. Here we'll have a phase started in August on individual coaching, which will include support on copywriting. For those of you who are not familiar with this, copywriting is the process of improving and optimizing the content that you create so that it's targeted to an audience, to a product, and we make sure that we use the keywords that will help you stand out and be visible online. And then we'll also provide you with support on website optimization. So the work that you are doing there now, in this assignment, we will activate it during August and optimize it. And this will take place also until the end of the year. Then for some of the businesses, we're also going to work on distribution, specifically to help you ship the products to Europe and to the US. And then we'll, of course, do some follow-up support to recommend some improvements at the end of the project and see if there are any questions, any issues you have, so that we solve them before the project ends. So this is how the project looks like. That's why, I mean, it's important for you to be active, to be motivated, because we're only going to choose 15 businesses after these webinars. What does the project cover? So the project is free of charge for you. We cover, obviously, the group training, the individual coaching, the copywriting, and then the platform costs. This is important. I'm highlighting this because Shopify is not free, but it's an investment. I don't want you to see it as a cost. It's an investment because it's a very easy to use platform. You don't need to be hiring web developers, which in the end, you know, it could be costly as well. But it has a cost of almost $40 per month. Okay, we're covering this for this first year for the selected businesses. But then if you want to continue with the platform, you'll have to pay this yourself. And then regarding the logistics, we're doing this on a cost sharing basis. So we're going to accompany some businesses through the process of shipment, but then you will have to cover the cost of keeping that shipment in the warehouse. But well, this is for you to have an overview. So we're looking for companies that are motivated so that we are able to, you know, provide them with this and they make a good usage of the project.
Chris, may I briefly jump in?
Yeah, of course,
Super
please,
briefly.
Fabian.
Yeah, hey guys, I will present myself a little bit later, but already I want to say hi, and it's great to see you guys. Yeah, just want to re-emphasize those 2 points that you mentioned, Chris. Like, this is really important. Like, getting, you know, your Shopify store for 1 year for free, it's a lot of money. You know, it's almost $500 worth of money. So it's a great thing to aspire to. And again, like, in order to get to that, you know, we will ask you to do assignments along the way, and we basically, you know, select company in a bit of a competitive process. So, you know, I will ask you later. You know, I will tell you exactly what you need to do and so on to be considered. But this is what you will get. And on the logistics as well, if you are selected, then it's actually $500 to $1,000 that you know, ITC has budgeted for you, and that means, like, we are paying for you to move your goods, and that is, you know, that can be you know, many units, can be 100, 200 units or so to a warehouse. So just that you know that those who are selected get these benefits. So just wanted to re-emphasize this because I feel it's just important. Thank you. Thanks, Chris.
It's important. Yeah, thank you, Fabian. Yeah, so well, this is it. Before we go into the content of today's session, do you have any question, any concern? You can also put it in the chat and we can solve it later. But yeah, so I mean, ideally we are meeting every week online. You'll receive emails with the information on how to register. It's important that you register to each of the sessions, and then just be here, enjoy, and please make as many questions as possible. Yeah. So Fabian, do you want to share your screen so that you handle the slides better? And
yeah, Chris, you can let me know. Like, my slides are also on your deck that you shared, or I can go to my Canva.
Yeah, do it yourself if you can, because then it's better to pass the slides.
Okay. I will need a second to set it my screen. Bear with me a second. I'm now sharing my screen. Please let me know once you can see it, and then I just need to select the presentation. Okay. So apologies for the loading speed here. So I'm based in Switzerland, and like Chris, usually the loading speed is reasonably good.
There we go. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, those are the slides. So here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go in here.
Good. Yeah. So again, if you have questions, put them in the chat, and then Fabian will answer to them live. You can also raise your hand if you want to share any example or any experience. We really want to make this session as practical as possible. So yeah, here we go. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, all good.
Very nice. Okay, thanks, Chris. We're actually a little bit ahead of schedule, I can see. If I move to the next slide, we had half an hour for the intro now. Yeah, we're a little bit ahead of schedule. The agenda for today on the content. So we want to start with the introduction of Rachel and myself. So you get to know a little bit, who we are and how we have helped businesses in the past, connect with international customers and build their web shops. We'll then, I will go into content on my side. I would just want to start out with just do's and don'ts of developing an e-commerce site. Then Rachel will talk about the top ways to ensure your online shop stands out. Then we will talk about the first assignment. As discussed, the assignments that we give you, they are important, so we can do our selection process and decide who we want to give those great benefits to that we talked about at the start. And then, as usual, we want to take a little bit of time for questions and answers. As our colleagues mentioned at the beginning, feel free to write in the chat at any moment. And I think we can monitor the chat and try to answer the questions as they come in. But we want to make sure that we have a bit of time at the end for questions as well. Actually, let's start with the introductions, but I want to give the word first to Rachel. I'll do my intro later. Ladies first here. Rachel, can I hand over to you for your introduction?
Sure, no problem. Thank you so much. Are you all hearing me clearly? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm in Trinidad and Tobago right now, so that just kind of part of the Caribbean that I'm existing right now. I've been an agri SME for 15 years. I started my first business in 2009, and my business only existed online. And we were online in a time when Trinidadians didn't even have credit cards, they didn't have personal computers. So my experience and what I'm going to bring to the table is really how to make your e-commerce and online stores stand out within the Caribbean context, because we have very unique and specific challenges. And I'm hoping to share with you all some of my insights and just really what I think works for digital in the Caribbean, and obviously globally, because we have customers from all across the world. And I'm hoping that my personal experience is going to share with you all what you can do today, what you can do now to enhance your online platform. And with the resources of the ITC program, I think that combination alone can help you just enter into new market opportunities. And it's really important to, use this data, use this information to apply to your business in a real way. Fabian, we were trying to figure out his pronunciation. He has a wealth of experience, and we're really here to support you guys to help you grow your business. There isn't this one trick formula. I think it takes a lot of interest. It takes a lot of passion. And I think most of the brands that I looked at in this chat, in this group, is you're already there. So I'm hoping to share as much with you all, and you'll absorb as much as you can. So.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Rachel. Yeah, then I'll go ahead and present myself. Thanks for the kind words. Well, I do hope that I can share my experience with everybody as well. What I wanted to do briefly here in terms of how I present myself is to talk about the strengths and my experience and how this can help your business, go to the next level. So before I do that, maybe briefly about kind of the context of where I've worked and who I am. So I'm again, my name is Fabian. It can be Fabian as well. So we still have to figure out. It's up to you. Actually, I'm based in Switzerland. So it's the same country as Chris. I think the key thing you should know about me is that, you know, kind of what has shaped me in the past 10 years, I would say, is my desire to help small companies connect with international customers online. And, you know, my professional path includes having worked for eBay at the eBay international headquarters. So eBay is one of the pioneers, or the pioneer of e-commerce that started, you know, that created the first e-commerce marketplace back in 1995. Then I was, you know, then I didn't work for them yet. I actually started working for them in 2010 until 2018. So spent almost a decade of my time working for eBay, and my role there was to, you know, to help the companies to connect to international customers. So already there, I was focusing on that part, although I was doing it at quite a high level. So, you know, when you work at the headquarters, it's always about like thousands of companies and creating programs on how to push thousands of companies. But I've always been, you know, most passionate about helping kind of going down to the more granular level and actually getting to work directly with companies. And also I was more interested in working with companies outside of the core markets, like outside of the United States, outside of Europe, and helping these companies, you know, connect with the buyer base that eBay had and still has. So that's become sort of my passion, and that's become also my profession. And you know, I was lucky to get hired for multiple projects by the International Trade Center since 2018, and you know, since then I've worked with over 250 sellers across 11 markets on 3 continents, and always the goal has been the same, like you know, see what are your products, how can we make them stand out online, how can we build your shop, how can we make things attractive so that it's so that the Western consumers you know, will want to buy from you. So again, like connecting small businesses to international buyers, that's kind of who I am. Briefly want to emphasize maybe 4 points on how specifically I have been helping small companies and how I can hopefully help you. So number 1 is the focus on like small and medium companies, actually micro, small and medium companies. So that's, you know, predominantly who I worked with. I have worked with a couple of larger companies, you know, 50, 100 employees, but mostly it's been like individual entrepreneurs or maybe companies with 2 to 5 employees, something like that. So I know very well what the needs are when you're a micro or small business, and I know very well what the constraints are as well. And I hope I can you know, help with this experience. Point number 2, you know, connecting to international customers. So the main experience I have is you know, generating sales with customers or buyers in the United States and European Union. So you know, over the years, I've started to develop sort of a sense for kind of what Western consumers like, what US consumers and European customers like. So I will be able to help you understand the tastes and kind of preferences of these buyers, and also I can give you some hints around your competition. You know, who is your competition? What are they offering, and what are the prices that they have? Because as you will see along the training, I put a lot of emphasis on competitiveness and prices, because in e-commerce, you know, your competition is always just a click away. So unless you are competitive, you know, you have to be competitive if you want to make sales, essentially. Point number 3, I would say, is my experience in setting up international logistics for small companies. So across my multiple projects and across the multiple countries I've worked in, I've always been excited in finding ways to make the logistics work. And in short, like the big challenge that everybody's facing is if you're going to, ship and sell your merchandise cross-border, the shipping costs are always exorbitant, and they are usually a showstopper for buyers, because also usually the products that we have, often the shipping cost will be as high or higher than the cost of the product, and that's a showstopper, as I mentioned. So I have been working with with a number of partners, including one warehouse partner that we again want to partner with for this program, and basically I can help you from a technical perspective, get your merchandise prepared, get the barcodes prepared, get the shipment prepared, get it into the warehouse, and then connecting it with your online shop so that your logistics process is fully automated, and also one big priority is to adapt the pricing accordingly so that you have fast shipping and competitive pricing. I think I'll leave it at that. Those are sort of the key things that I'm excited about doing and excited to help you with. And I'll close it here. I think let's then maybe move to the next to the next section. The next section, we dive into content. So before I do that, actually, I just want to check with maybe Chris and Rachel, if we're fine to just move ahead, or are there any questions in the meantime on the chat that we should look into?
No, and the chat is good, but if anyone wants to unmute, I think all is good now. I'll stop you if you want, Fabian, if I fancy something relevant. Yeah.
Awesome. That's perfect. Great. So that means we now have, I think, half an hour for me to talk about do's and don'ts of selling internationally. And afterwards, we have Rachel to talk about how to stand out online. Maybe before I start, from the meetings we've had so far, I would say I will be kind of your person to talk about the international selling aspect, like how to connect with international sellers. And I think, Rachel, with your experience, right, building web shops, that's where your strength is. So I think that's probably, that's how we work together. And when I talk about the do's and don'ts, you'll see that oftentimes I also have examples from platforms or marketplaces that are unrelated to Shopify. But I want to make maybe one very important point first. So, and that is like the dynamics of selling online. They are essentially the same, and independently from which platform you sell on. There are some details that change, depending on the platform that you are on. I'm sure you are aware of marketplaces like eBay, like Amazon, and then e-commerce platforms like Shopify, WooCommerce. There's a wide range of these platforms. We have made a conscious choice to choose Shopify in this program because Shopify is a easily accessible solution. Also, like one of our good colleagues from ITC, she's working at Shopify, and we will get her to help us in case of issues. So we've chosen that platform. But again, I just want to emphasize, like anything I'm telling you and the examples that I'm giving you, even though they are not specifically Shopify related, anything you will do on Shopify is covered, because ultimately what we're trying to do is we're trying to market our products, get international customers for our products, and no matter what platform you use, the rules are the same in the game. So that said, I will go ahead and again share my screen. And actually, I want to start with the don'ts. I think the don'ts are more interesting than the do's. So let's start with this. I will run through the list, give you a couple of examples of sellers I've worked with on the way. So since I mentioned that I'm so keen about the whole pricing and competitiveness question, my first don't is the following. Don't charge higher prices than your competition. So that's a rule that generally applies. Now, I understand that some of you might be selling in a premium at premium prices, and that's fine. If you sell in a premium segment, you can have premium prices, but it also means you have to have a premium experience. So this is what we will help you do. We will, make your shop look like, like incredibly nice, and we will make it look incredibly expensive. So you can charge your premium price if that's the segment that you have, but let's be conscious about the premium price that your premium competitors are charging, and we cannot be more expensive than they are, because again, the competition is only one click away. The example I want to give you on this one is a seller that I'm currently working with. So you'll hear me talk a lot about Central America and Central Asia, which are two regions in which I've recently worked with sellers. So this particular seller is from Central Asia, a country called Kyrgyzstan. I think the key thing you need to know about Kyrgyzstan is it's about as remote, or I would say more remote than your country when it comes to trying to reach consumers in the United States or Europe. So with art slippers, what we did is we, as you can see, we're selling slippers. The seller has started a couple of months ago. We've started making sales. We have 83 items sold, so it's not a huge deal, but it's a start. And just to be clear, so we did this selling remotely. So each sale is business to consumer. It's an individual sale, and it goes from Kyrgyzstan mainly to the United States, also to Europe. So it's a difficult thing to do. Yet we have 83 sold items. We're now also talking about moving things into a warehouse, which I'll cover later. But the point is, at the beginning, the prices that we were charging were a little too premium. And as soon as we got to the market price, we could see demand pick up immediately. The advantage that this seller has, luckily for this seller, there are very good and reliable shipping services in the country of Kyrgyzstan that also are relatively cheap. So we can ship to the United States for about $11.70. So that's US dollars. And as you can see, we're selling at about $40. So $42, something like that. So $30 is what the seller is making on each pair of slippers. And then for you to know, like, production cost in this particular country, because it's a relatively low cost country, it's maybe $10. So that the seller is kind of happy with that margin for now. Next step is to make this grow, and I'll talk about this a little bit later. Let's go back to the presentation then and talk about the next thing that you should not do. So the next thing the next point is, like, do not offer delivery times that are more than 2 weeks. And again, that can be very challenging especially if you want to do distance selling. and if you want to reach, international customers and shipping out of your country. So there are sort of three options that I've seen work. The first one is selling remotely and using economy shipping. That's the problem. So that works, right? Economy shipping remotely, it can work, but I don't recommend it. I'll talk more about why. Then there is expedited shipping remotely. That can work, but it's restricted on higher priced items. And then there's a third option, and that is to actually, forward deploy products into the country of where, you want to expand and sell. In my case, often it has been the United States, because the United States it's the second biggest e-commerce market in the world after China, and it's the most open country in terms of legal and regulatory settings. So it's been quite easy to do that. For Europe, it's a little more complicated, but it works as well. So again, three options. Number one, economy shipping, remote. Number two, expedited shipping, remote. And number three, forward deploying. Now, with option number one, economy shipping, it's the problem is it takes more than 2 weeks, and customers, e-commerce customers, the expectation is moving to an expectation of more and more and faster delivery, and it's mainly driven by Amazon, who's dominating retail e-commerce in the United States, but also in Europe. And as you may know, they have a program called Amazon Prime, and it means that if you subscribe to Amazon Prime, you pay a yearly membership fee, and then you can have like next day delivery on any orders you make. So that has shifted kind of buyer expectations to buyers' expectation to expect faster and faster shipping. So often we are competing with people and sellers that offer really fast shipping. So economy shipping that takes more than 2 weeks, that's really unattractive for many of the buyers, that you will encounter. So I have seen it working, but only if you have a product that is like super unique, and like your buyers have no other way to find it than with you, right? So it has to be a really your product has to be has to have very unique features. The second option, using expedited shipping and shipping remote, this is good. Like often we have been partnering with DHL, and we have been able to get really attractive rates for our sellers. But still, if you use a company like DHL to ship from one continent to the other, and you have I would say medium-sized parcel, less than 2 kilos, you're still looking at a bill of $30 to $40 to get your product shipped, and often that's a showstopper because often the products that I've the sellers that I've worked with, the product prices would be more in the range of maybe $30 to $70, and then the DHL expedited shipping fee is really high. So again, like it's feasible, but I've seen this working, but it works more for products that have a higher average selling price. So as an example, I'll give you a quick example. I've also been working with this seller here that's focusing on like very unique coats. It's also from Central Asia. As you can see, the prices are in the above $100 range, and that means we can then we can sort of afford to include the high DHL shipping cost into the final price, and the consumers are still happy to pay that price. So yeah, we're more in the premium segment here, and we are also offering premium fast delivery, I would say. But it's difficult with the smaller products. Also, I would say with food products, that's a challenge. And then the third option is the warehouse, and I'll talk a little more about that later. Let me briefly check how we're doing on time. Yeah, I still have 15 minutes. I hope I'm not going too fast or losing anyone. If so, just let me know. If there's questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just keep going.
All good for now in the chat, at least.
Okay, fantastic. Then, how do I make my presentation big again? Here.
Here. No, you go to the right, top, sorry, down and below, the corner.
Yeah.
No, go down.
Oh yeah, here, right?
Yeah, there.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, great. So again, do not offer delivery times that are more than 2 weeks, and try to have a delivery option that's really fast. And I will be helping to do that, at least for those of you who are selected for the next phases. You will get the support to get your products into a warehouse, and once your products are in a warehouse, then it's easy to be below 2 weeks. Actually, you're gonna be able to deliver to your consumers in 2 to 3 days, sometimes 4 to 5 days. Sometimes up to 5 days, but that's the maximum. And of course, your bill will be much lower than if you were to ship remote. Point number 3. So do not be shy on listing all your inventory, and if possible, showcase all your products in this case on Shopify or on your online store, because variety brings sales. And the quick example I want to give you on this point is, so this is another seller. So by now you can see there's a pattern with the sellers I work with. It's all been handmade products. That's what I've been focusing on recently. But the parallel with you guys is these are small to medium businesses. This particular business is a family-run business. And secondly, they are again remote versus the consumers that they want to get. So what are we looking at? We are looking at a seller that sells at what I would say also more in the premium segment. So we have a price ranging from maybe $80 up to $400 for and that's United States dollars, of course. And these are bed sheets, but they are handmade, and they are it's very unique. Now, this kind of product, this kind of product, usually you'll see it at a much lower price online. However, we have had success selling at a higher price point. And the reason it worked is because we have made a big effort to list the whole catalog, right? So there are 2 things that happened after we expanded the products. Actually, perhaps I need to tell you how we started. We started with 25 products, and we didn't have any sales, and we could have either said, okay, let's try to kind of undercut other competitors, or let's try to play on price and just make sales. Instead, what we said is, let's expand our selection and to give us a chance to connect with more potential buyers, and that's what we did. So we've selected 400 products. Right now, you can see there's 150 that are listed, but we are working on listing more. So we're going to go up to 400 products, and again, all of them will be listed at a premium price. And so 2 things happened. The first thing that happened is we started seeing sales. So it's not huge yet. We have 24 products sold, but again, it's a premium price and good margins. And secondly, we started getting requests from business to business buyers. So we had a buyer from Japan recently, and she said, "Hey, I wanna get like 20 products. So I want this one, etc." So she selected the products within the store, and then we negotiated a special B2B price, which is of course lower than the retail price, but you make 20 sales at a time, and you only ship once, and so on. So overall, like it's a profitable activity. So again, do not be shy on listing all the products you have, because it gives you credibility. It gives the buyer's choice. It allows you to charge higher prices as well when you have more variety, and it just gives you a great reputation, or helps you build a reputation. And there's no reason why you shouldn't, why you should hide anything from potential buyers. Okay, let's see. Okay, I will do kind of one more don't, and then I'll do a couple of do's, and then I'll hand it over to Rachel. Let me briefly just check the agenda. Yeah, so we actually do have time until 15 past, so I have a bit more time, but I'll end a little bit early. Since I get more time, Rachel should also get more time. So okay, 2 more points, a little less important, but do not forget to factor in selling fees. So, no matter what platform or marketplace you use online, there are always fees. In the case of Shopify, you will have a fee, a commission to pay to Shopify, which is 2% for the shop subscription that we will have, and there is a fee that you have to pay to the payment gateway provider, which is usually around 3%, but in the context of an international transaction, it can be up to 4.5%. So it's about 6% that you should factor into your price. Everybody has to do that. All the sellers have to do that, and we'll get to that point as well. But we need to factor in budget as well for promotion, but that's a different story. Okay, and then final point, and it's very logical, but it's also worth mentioning. It's simply that do not disappoint your buyers. So what I want to say by that is, when you build a nice store, right? We help you build a nice store that looks, really kind of the latest technology, latest design. We really want your store to shine. So by doing that, like, we make a promise, right? Like we are sort of telling people, hey, we are a great company. We know what we're doing, and of course we are also giving certain promises. Like as you will see, when we configure the shipping setting, we have to raise expectations, or we have to provide to our buyers an estimation of how quickly we ship, and there's also a certain number of other things that we promise, such as what is our returns policy, and so on. So there's a certain number of terms and conditions that we as professional sellers have, and the point I want to make is we are making promises, and we have to keep to our promises. And the major thing that I see happening is people making promises on shipping time and then not delivering on it, right? And what happens when we do that is we get disappointed customers, and disappointed customers, they find a way to tell other shoppers about you, right? So when we sell online, we are being constantly monitored and judged. So we need to live up to our promises. Again, our promises can be. I'm not saying you have to deliver next day. I'm just saying, let's say that you promise you ship in 10 days, then you should always be able to ship in 10 days and not 11 or 12. That's what I'm saying. The example I want to give you here is, again, I have this this seller here. So again, it's a seller from Central Asia. They have their products in the warehouse in the US. It's a bit of a different price kind of business model, because as you can see, it's very low prices. But what we are doing is we are just competing on price. You can see like the products, they don't have like a strong, unique selling point. You know, they are kind of generic, what I would call generic Western style fashion. So there is a huge amount of competition on the market, right? Ranging from sellers in China that have those products, ranging from retailers in the US where you can find this type of product. Like you could walk as a consumer in the US or Europe, you can walk into any fashion store and you'll find like similar products. So therefore, we don't have a strong differentiator. So therefore, we have to compete on price. And what we did is we did the math, and we found a way to be able to offer low prices. And these products are in the warehouse. Anyways, that's the setup. The point I want to make about this seller is feedback, right? So this was in the warehouse, meaning the seller never really had to worry about anything because everything was automated. But at some point, like last month, the connection between the warehouse and the store got disconnected, and the seller wasn't monitoring at all, right? And it turns out like there was an order, and the warehouse could, from a technical perspective, not receive it. And what happens is you get a negative feedback from a buyer. In this case, they are saying, "Hey, I contacted the seller 3 times. I paid full. I never received an answer. I'm very disappointed with this seller. I would not recommend buying from them," right? So this is what happens, right? And this is in this case, okay, in this case it's a marketplace like eBay, but anywhere you sell, you are being judged by how well you deliver to your promises. So yeah, make sure you deliver to your promises, and like if you build your store, it's another sales channel, and you need to be committed to it. Yeah, you have to be ready to answer to your customers and be responsive. Cool. Moving on, and I'll take 5, maximum 10 more minutes to talk about a couple of do's, and then I'll hand over. Okay, moving back to the do's, and here I think we can go a little bit faster on those. Okay, so do offer a fast delivery option. You can see like I'm really putting emphasis on prices and delivery time, but I'm doing this because this is the competitive environment that we're facing, right? We're faced with sellers that are online, that are 1 click away, and they may have fast delivery options, and they may have competitive prices. So we have to be in line, unless you have this unicorn product that nobody else has, then you are sort of freed from these constraints. But most of the time, you will find that you have competitors online, and you have to be aware of them. So offering a fast delivery option is key. And again, we will help you do that. Then if you offer economy shipping, then it should be free or very cheap. So it doesn't mean you're making a loss. It just means that you build in the cost for economy shipping into your final price, just as some of the sellers I showed you before, just as they are doing it. And many sellers online, you will find that they offer free shipping, but of course, all they do is they advertise it as free shipping, whereas obviously they have factored in the cost for shipping into the price already. Point number 3, do use a warehouse to shorten delivery times and cut delivery cost. So yeah, I've covered that point already. Yeah, it's very helpful. It's very helpful. Point number 4, again, related to logistics, do allow returns, right? So yeah, the retail standard right now is that you offer that you allow returns. It's also in many countries it's just a rule that it's national law that as a retailer or professional seller you must accept returns. The good news is we have an influence over how we structure or about the conditions of accepting a return. So we can obviously we expect the returned item to be in the shape in which we sent it. So it cannot be damaged. We can ask it to be in the original packaging, and also we can ask the buyer to pay for the return. This is something that I usually do for distance selling. The industry, again, like the industry trend is that sellers are moving to free returns, especially in the fashion industry. I think in the food industry, it's almost impossible to return something in the original packaging. So it's perfectly fine in this case to not accept returns, unless it's in the original packaging. So the key point is what we are going to do. We're going to be looking at your competitors and see like what the best practice is, and we can adapt like the same return policies. But generally, I would recommend to you that you do offer the option of returning the item. It's just easier for buyers to make the purchase when they know they can return it. It's even easier for buyers to make a purchase when they know they can return it for free. So something to keep in mind. Right, let's take 2 more minutes and do a couple of more points here. Point number 5, so do plan in budget to promote your products. The key point is, we will build a store for you that again, that will be shiny and nice and beautiful, but it's we still like the store can be as shiny and as beautiful as we want. Unless people see it, nobody will buy from it. So therefore, we need to work on advertising, and this is again something we will discuss in a future webinar. And it's something that we are aware of, and we are aware of that you need help with, and we have budgeted this as well. Okay, and I'm sure Rachel can tell you much more about these points as well. So do use advertising and price discounts, especially at the start when you're building a buyer base. Then the other thing I want to tell you is about about customer behavior or market behavior. It is that it's really impressive how sales can vary across the year. And what I'm seeing is that usually in summer we have much less sales. And I remember my time working for eBay, where we were looking at the broad numbers, right? Like eBay was making like $100 billion in sales per year, so a lot of money. And we were looking at revenues every month, and you could see how revenues during summer were going down, and you could see how they picked up during September to December in the pre-Christmas season. And like this macro trend that we were observing, like I see this every day when I work, you know, on the ground with the sellers that I support. And it's really true that, you know, things really start to pick up in September. And that's why we've timed our program to start now, so that by the time September comes around, and like all the trade shows start, and also the demands, you know, all the demands start picking up, like that's when we need to be ready at the latest. Of course, let's try to be ready earlier, but that's the latest we need to be ready, because that's when people are rushing to the internet and starting to buy. You know, one kind of fun anecdote, when I worked at eBay, like we saw a clear correlation, like whenever the weather was nice, our sales were dropping. Whenever the weather was bad, the sales were increasing. So, you know, cold weather and pre-Christmas is really helpful for sales. Hot weather and good weather and holidays, it's not very helpful for sales. Okay, I think I'll do just one more point. I'll just do one more point here. And I think it's a bit of a repetition, but it's important. So do use your Shopify store to showcase your inventory, tell your story, connect with potential international B2B buyers. So why am I talking about B2B, whereas Shopify is predominantly a you know, solution that has been catering for retail sellers, right? So why am I talking about business to business? For the same reason that I told you the story about the seller with the bed sheets. You know, having a retail store, it's kind of like having a great retail store, right? It's kind of like a business card. Like you can just, anybody you meet, you can just send them to your store. And even B2B buyers that you might meet at trade shows and so on, you can send them to your retail stores, and there's two things that will happen. Number one, like they will see that you're legit. They will be impressed, hopefully, because they see that you have great reviews from your buyers. They will see that you have that you deliver quickly and that you're reliable, and also they will see your prices. And here again, I want to emphasize the point that if we are selling in a premium market, we are allowed to charge premium prices, and it's important for your potential business to business buyers to see those retail prices that are you know, that are not too low. Like again, we need to be competitive, but also yeah, we don't have to do cutthroat pricing. And the point I'm making here is, whenever a potential B2B buyer sees your store, what they are thinking in their mind is, oh, okay, so this person is selling, I don't know, like a bar of chocolate for $10, and like I see this working. So the B2B buyer is thinking, okay, so that means in my shop I can probably sell as well for $10 or around this price point, and they're already doing the math in their heads and thinking about the profits they can make. It gives you leverage, I would say, in the negotiation when down the road. Like you can basically say, look, I'm selling this at a premium price. I have a store, I have consumers. So, you know, don't try to buy from me for like really low prices, basically. You know, don't try to offer me like really low prices, because look, I'm selling retail and I'm selling at the premium price. So it helps you with your negotiation power, and it helps you to just show how legitimate your business is. And that is the last point that I have for you.
Fabian, there are a couple of questions regarding the warehouse. Okay. So yeah, one would be, I mean, both of them have to do with the warehouse. So one is regarding the chocolate products. Yep. Because they need cold shipping options, for the summer. And if we can find in the project, I guess, information about a warehouse that can organize that and have cold packs and isolation for the shipping box available. Yeah. So it's information on whether we can find that. I guess we will explore that, obviously, because we will be
Yeah.
working with this product.
Yeah, like so temperature controlled warehouses, it's nothing, it's mainstream. The question is, so we'll do a bit of research, Chris, I guess, around deliver.com, who I've worked with a lot, see if they offer the service. If not, we can review some other options. Yeah, the only thing that right now that I'm kind of thinking out loud, we need to check about like the minimum order volumes. So this is something for us to take back, but I don't see this as a blocker. In fact, I see this kind of as basically our job to make sure that you guys, get the temperature controlled warehousing solution. So let us check and get back on that.
Perfect. And the other question is if the warehouse is located in a tax-free zone.
Yeah.
I think that, well, yeah, let you answer.
Yeah. So the warehouse that I've been using primarily, they actually have like 27 locations or so across the US. So no, they are not in a tax-free zone. However, what we have been doing quite frequently, because like the stage that I come in to help, it's it's very early stage. Like I basically involved in the pioneering phase when we start to find out if the market works. And therefore, we're usually not talking like huge volumes. We're usually talking quantities of, maybe 50, between 50 and 300 units or so that we are shipping into the warehouse, right? And often what we've been able to do is that we asked our shipping provider locally to have it declared as samples, and we actually were able to import it. Like I think 80% of the cases we imported it tax-free into the US, because the United States has a pretty high threshold, de minimis threshold, so we could pass below it, and we actually never had to deal with any tax-related issues. When it comes to Europe, it's a bit of a different story. So we do have in any case, like again, like Chris, maybe we can check about like exemptions with the European Union.
Yeah.
Right, free trade exemptions. But as a general rule for Europe, as long as your product, value of imports is above around 150 euros, you need to pay tax on it. Actually, the VAT threshold is even lower. So there is this cost factor to keep in mind. Again, it's something we can help with because we have money budgeted to help you with the inbound shipping. But yeah, the generally the way it works, or what we have been doing, is we've imported the merchandise into the target market and done the procedure if necessary. And once it's there, then the warehouse just ships, and there's no more tax questions once your units are there. Does that make sense?
Perfect. Yeah. These questions are relevant because we also get to see what you want to know and how we can better support you. So we'll do some research as well, especially on the one on the cooling system. Okay. Great. Well, that's all in the chat, Fabian.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. So I will stop sharing my screen, and we are like on the minute on the time schedule. So handing over to Rachel. Thank you very much. Rachel, can you? Yeah, you are there.
You'll hear me. Hi, everyone again. Let me just share my screen 1 sec. Are you seeing?
Yes,
yep, we can see.
Okay, awesome. Okay, great. Thanks, Fabian. I think everything you pointed out was just kind of within my presentation as well, in terms of, but more specifically in the standing out. I think the do's and don'ts are big tell and looking at what is industry standard and what other platforms are doing is really important. So seeing what their do's and don'ts. I mean, you see most standardized websites have that sort of those key factors around them. The questions are really interesting, and I think right away it tells you that if you have a food brand, you have very unique distribution channels that the average person doesn't necessarily have with regards to standardized commodity type products, right? So when you have a food product, you have to literally figure out which markets are going to be good for you, which ones don't, which is really important. But the more important thing is that when you build your online platform and you use it right, you actually get to access the markets that fit you. So exactly what Fabian said about B2B opportunities. There's tons of opportunities if you are to invest in your digital channels, right? So anyone in the world can access it, and they may find solutions for your distribution that you didn't really think of, right? And I'll give you some examples as we go along. How important that is to understand the industry and the sector that you're in, but that digital solutions bring opportunities, and again, they bring solutions for your distribution and those particular challenges. For instance, with that specific question, with shipping with FedEx, out of the Caribbean, like right now in Trinidad and Tobago, we have helped a brand ship frozen sorrel. I don't know, that's like our Christmas drink, but it's like hibiscus petals. And they ship it frozen from Trinidad to restaurants all across New York, right? So the opportunity is there. It may just be that you need to connect with distribution channels within other Caribbean islands. So just know that the solution isn't this one fit for all. You have to figure out what works best for your particular product and your particular industry. So I'm just going to share. So I'm just going to go through we have a lot to discuss and we have a period of time together. So I think there are opportunities to expand on what we're discussing here today. But I'm just going to tell you basically how to stand out online, right? You have some digital channels. I'm pretty sure you have. I reviewed some of the companies. I used you guys as examples in my presentation because I'm seeing where you understand the how digital works. What we're here to help on this program is to help you maximize on that, because it's almost like you're not living up to your fullest potential if you don't apply some of the digital strategies that I've learned from experience, that I've learned from even Fabian during this short period already. So I'm just going to introduce quickly myself. I am the founder of The Market Movers Limited. I have over 15 years experience in the e-commerce digital space. I've always existed online. We only recently just launched a storefront 2 years ago, but more or less my entire career, we've been a digital company within the Caribbean. So that alone and navigating that is challenges in itself. So I'm the founder of Market Movers Limited, Our Moving Table, Farm and Function, and Market Movers Design. Just briefly, Market Movers is an online delivery service of greengrocer items. We deliver nationwide in Trinidad and Tobago, and we have customers from all across the globe ordering for their families here. And it's not necessarily that we're exporting, but we're exporting services. So they order online from abroad and they deliver to their families here. So of course, during the pandemic, this was a huge win for us. We also have a range of frozen fruit products called Farm and Function. So we manufacture local Caribbean products. We sell, we distribute throughout the Caribbean. So we have that understanding of what it is to have a food brand specifically. All right. This is our online platform. And then we also do farm to table events where we do farm dining. Again, we're focused on Caribbean products, Caribbean inputs, and we have that experience on how challenging it is to, produce and grow food within the Caribbean and then add value and distribute it across the globe. All right. So we do farm to table events, again, 100% local inputs. We know everything around the agriculture space and within Trinidad and Tobago. And, you know, we also have a food design company where we package and help with branding and packaging design for food brands. Now, I'm done selling myself. What I'm going to do is tell you how you can sell yourself. All right. And the first thing I would say is that in order to sell yourself digitally, you need to understand who your brand is. Just from reviewing the companies, I think you guys already have a very strong sense of, you know, your brand strength, who you are as a brand. But just be reminded that your brand is your voice, all right? It represents who you are, but your product is really that souvenir. It's that physical thing that customers get to reinforce all the brand values that you've already instilled and communicated to the customer, all right? So, I mean, just quickly to audit yourself, you know, take us a little minute to just check in with your brand. And understanding this again is how you're going to be able to sell digitally, how you're going to be able to stand out on online platforms, okay? So just quickly, you know, ask yourself, do you have a logo? I'm pretty sure most of y'all do, but in terms of your logo, do you own your logo? Do you have your logo files? You know, it's an important core element of your brand, all right? Do you have it in multiple formats? Do you have a slogan, you know, something you're known for? You know, your product name, is there a particular name within your product range that you're known for? Do you have a tone within your brand? Are you luxurious? Are you affordable? Are you, you know, organic, health focused? Well, what's the tone about your brand, right? And a character. You don't have to have a character, but a character tends to reinforce, you know, your brand strengths and your brand pillars, right? And lastly, your packaging. Of course, if you're going to sell products online, you must have food safe packaging to hold these products and to sell it into the particular markets, all right? So I'm just gonna do
Rachel, well, sorry for cutting you, but we've lost a bit the volume from your side. I don't know if you have it's the same, it's a bit low. I mean, maybe if we increase our volume, it works.
Sorry.
But I don't know if you have some headphones possible.
Let me see, one sec. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Testing. Better?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I think so.
Y'all hear me better?
Yeah, I hear you well now.
Much better, yes.
That's
Yeah?
better. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Did you not hear anything I said before?
No, we were hearing you. It was just that it got low from the volume.
Yeah, I'm testing out a new camera with a mic in it, so I think I just need to be a little closer.
Yeah, I think so. But we could hear you. Huh? No
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, I would think I was here on. You all see my screen still, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great. So I know I would have said a brand is your voice, your product is your souvenir. We would have gone through the components of your brand and the elements that exist to have sort of this strong brand in the marketplace, right? Now, if you're selling directly to someone, you can tell them everything about your brand, but when you have an online platform, you have to be able to communicate that very clearly. And you need these fundamental elements of your brand to make sure that it's being reinforced on your digital platform. So one way of doing that is to ask yourself, basically, you know, does your brand have strong brand pillars, right? What are some words that, you know, just sort of envision your brand or represent your brand? And usually when you pull these words, usually you pull around 2 to 3 words. When you pull these words, it kind of helps you stay focused on what the communication on your digital platform should be. So for instance, my brand, The Market Movers, is focused on health and convenience. You know, if our products aren't healthy and if they're not convenient to the customer, you know, then it completely contradicts our brand pillars. So that's why it's so important to identify what are those 2 or 3 words that really define or encapsulate, what does your brand represent? Because when you define that, it helps you, express that digitally, basically, and you're able to sell more to customers. Because if the customer knows that I can come here and get something healthy but convenient, then they're going to come for those 2 main things, right? If they're coming to you for quality, and as Fabian said, if you have a really unique product, they're coming to you for that specific differentiation. So it could be that you're unique, specialty, innovative, and any word that really tells or reinforces what you think your brand is about. So just internally, if you can think about what are those words that really represent your brand, because it's going to be very important to define that, so that you can design and express it digitally to your customer, because you're trying to convince them, on this computer, right? It's not in person. So you have to make sure that you're communicating your brand pillars as best as you can. So this is just a quick activity to ensure that you understand those components. And it's just going to help you even when you're figuring out your delivery solutions, what you want to offer the customer. So I like to focus on the fundamentals so that you can just sort of be more impactful when you're on the trade and in those digital spaces. So this is an example of a local brand in the Caribbean. They're Chief Brand Products. They're one of the biggest, of dried seasonings sold and distributed throughout the Caribbean. In Trinidad, they're very popular. But I'm using real Caribbean brands here around food to kind of show how they use their brand pillars to then communicate it digitally, right? So of course, tradition, handing down recipes, so they show a mother teaching their daughter how to, create a recipe or something like that, right? So the other brand pillar is taste. So I'm sure most of you all know about curry. So taste is a big part of their brand pillars, and they have to make sure that it's communicated. They're trying to sell spices on the internet, so you have to show the consumer that this is the outcome, this is the potential. And with food products specifically, you really need to show that how customers can attain or acquire that experience. And their last brand pillar is purity, so they show or demonstrate that it's pure herbs, pure spices, and things like that, right? So, we have some small exercises that we're going to attach, but this is an example of a brand activity. We will share that with you all after. But just choosing maybe an animal that reflects those brand personalities or elements that, reflect your brand. And it's just a fun, sort of more attainable way to pull the words that really represent what your brand is about, all right? So again, with the Chief, this is their online platform, and they have their products displayed on their online platform, and it reinforces what they're known for. They're telling you right away, we're the largest manufacturer and exporter of spice, seasonings, condiments in the entire Caribbean region. So right away, they're telling you who they are, what they do, and what their promise is to the consumer, right? So understanding your brand, I would have pulled some of the brands from the group. This is in no way preference or any indication of the next steps of the program. But I wanted to just kind of pull real brands to show and demonstrate that in order to stand out online, you must really identify what makes you different. And this particular brand that I had in the group is called Cacao Me or Coco Me. I'm not sure which pronunciation they use. But again, right away, it tells you who they are, what they do, what's their differentiator. And understanding that is going to be very important in designing an online platform that is able to sell products internationally for you, right? Another brand I pulled, I saw Silkgrass Farms. I saw you all in the chat. But again, understanding your products, right? So who your brand is, what are the products that you're selling? What makes you different? What makes you stand out? and really differentiates you on the marketplace, right? And you're selling digitally, so you have to be so sure so that you can communicate that very clearly, all right? So a big part of standing out online is, you know, managing your product portfolio, right? And you understand who your brand is, you know who you are, you know what you're selling. But if you're to understand your, you know, you need to really be able to manage what your product portfolio looks like when you're designing an online platform, because you're literally selling these souvenirs, right? So you've defined who your brand is, and now you're selling, you know, this product, this souvenir. And if you don't understand, you know, what is it that you're selling? What are the products that, and I mean, I'm an entrepreneur, I have my own products, and you know how it is when you have a favorite product or you love a particular product within your portfolio, but it may not be a top seller. It may not be actually satisfying consumers or satisfying the customer base. So sometimes you have to be very honest with yourself and really dissect, what does your portfolio look like? What are the products that are performing? What are the products that are going to bring satisfaction for your customers? Because when you identify that product portfolio and you upload it to this platform, you need to make sure that these products are going to satisfy the consumer. They're going to meet customer expectations, and they're going to be really in line with who your brand is. All right. If you haven't figured out that formulation, or you're not sure, you know, it may not be ready for market. And understanding that portfolio and being really discerning is going to be important. Of course, you want to offer options and variety, as Fabian said. Definitely, the wider the portfolio online, the more sales you can attain, because you're offering customers choices. But if you can't deliver on that, it's really important to define, you know, what are those products that you think are going to really enforce your brand strengths. Okay. So to manage your product portfolio, you must use data-driven methods. As I said, you're finding those ones that are top performers, that have high reviews. You want to make sure those are the products that people try first, right? They're the ones that will bring that satisfaction and, you know, perform well in the marketplace that you're trying to sell into, right? And you need to document and track those elements. So sales, return on investment, market size. You know, is this worth bringing this particular flavor into this market if it's not popular in that particular market, right? So understanding your market size is a big part of you know, choosing your portfolio. The goal is to make your products really stand out, right? And this can be achieved by identifying, you know, your strong and weak products. And as I said, you know, it's hard because sometimes your favorite product is not necessarily your top performing product, right? You want to clarify your product categories. I think your categories on any online platform is very important, because this is the path to purchase. This is the path that the consumer is going to take to find the particular product that's going to suit their needs, right? And if your categories are not, you know, authentic to what the portfolio is or what the product range is, it's going to confuse and have the customer develop mistrust, right? So your categories is a big part of your product portfolio. So if you do cocoa based products, you may be in a snack segment, you may have chocolate bars, you may have more snack items. If you have drinking chocolate, hot chocolate, you want to make sure it falls into the category of drinks and not necessarily in the snack section, right? Because if someone buys it and eats a spoonful of raw cocoa powder, you know, it's not going to taste sweet, right? It's not going to taste like a snack. So you want to make sure that your product categories really define and identify the products within that category, right? Enhance your conversions with product referrals, right? So one top way, and I'm pretty sure, Fabian, when we go through this, like the Shopify, you know, if someone adds something to your cart, it will tell you people who bought this also bought this. right? Or this product goes well with this. And you really want to send those referrals or suggestions to the customer, within your portfolio, so that, and again, understanding your portfolio is so important, because let's say if someone is making smoothies, cocoa nibs can be good on that, or coconut oil can be added to your smoothies, right? So you want to make sure that your categories really highlight, the benefits or the usage of the product, right? And you can enhance those conversions with those referrals or suggestions, because things complement each other. And if someone buys one and uses it with something else, it can make an even better outcome for the customer, right? So another way of managing your product portfolio is bundle deals, right? So if you don't have a very, let's say, large portfolio, right? And it's key, as Fabian said in the do's, to have, offers or options for the customer. But if you don't have a large portfolio, to start with, you can create bundles, right? So you could combine products that go well together and create a new product, right? Where someone buys this package deal for a particular combo price, or you subscribe to it so that they buy it continuously to get a overall discount. There's a number of ways to bundle products, and we found this to work really successfully for us within our product range, because we're able to tell the customer now, you're buying fresh produce, why not buy meats, or why not buy, rice to go with it? So we're showing them, creating those bundles kind of solve that solution for the customer. And you definitely don't want to assume that the customer knows everything about your product, because you're in it day to day. That's great, but the customer is not, right? So you want to make sure that you kind of introduce new ways for them to use the product in those bundle packages. Occasions is a great way. So exactly what Fabian said about, and I keep referring to him because he was the only other person presenting, but in occasions is a big thing for us. When it's raining outside, our online sales go up incrementally, because people can't go outside, they can't access fresh produce, or they can't go to the grocery store. So it's really important to use occasions. This is a great keepsake. This is a great gift item. Do you have people visiting from another country? This is a great keepsake or takeaway that they may enjoy. And I think with Caribbean products, we already have that appeal. So it's a great way to introduce occasions for your products. So demonstrating that on your online platform, showing, when people use it. Literally, you have to explain to the consumer, when to use this product, all right? Discounts, of course, work really well, but you must, make sure that it factors in your costs and doesn't make you operate at a loss. And there are ways to apply discounts and opportunities for customers, especially your loyal customers, those who keep coming back to the platform, those who keep coming back to the website. You really want to reward them for coming to your platform, all right? And Google reviews. Google reviews, they literally saved our business. It really does help. Even if you get your friends to go on Google and review your products, it's very important to start building that Google review database, because it helps people find you. From the time I see someone else say, this is great, this product was amazing, of course I'm going to buy it, right? So Google reviews really do help reinforce that. And again, managing your product portfolio there are a number of ways, and we're here to kind of walk you through, and we'll guide you as well. But these are just some key ways that you can enhance and really stand out online on your online platform. All right. So I'm going to just show you all some examples of, again, food businesses within your particular industry right here in Trinidad and Tobago. So CGA Caribbean is an online platform that we would have worked with. We help them with their e-commerce solutions and help them manage their online portfolio, right? And they started out in more food-based, coconut oil-based products, right? They eventually evolved into beauty products, and very type, standard, local options for soaps and things like that. And then they went into a more premium line of beauty products. So face scrubs, more vitamin C oil, and all these trending, coconut oil trends. And again, you have to look at your marketplace. There's so much trending around the benefits of cocoa, around the benefits of coconut. So this is a way that this online platform was able to evolve and diversify their online sales by continuously evolving their categories. All right, now they didn't stray from coconuts. They maintained that value system and that brand value. But what they did was just evolve their product portfolio. And when you have digital and you're online, you have to constantly be offering customers something new and exciting. It's not just, and I think this is something Caribbean platforms are notorious for. They build a website and then they don't update anything for almost 2 years. You have to constantly be updating, enhancing your platform, enhancing your categories, enhancing your offerings, all right? This is just an example. This is not a real brand, but it shows you a honey product. And I just wanted to show you a different sector. But their brand pillars are that they have high quality honey, carefully selected mothers, and a natural environment. Their focus is around nature, all right? They have a range of different honey products here. And again, how diverse your portfolio can end up becoming in a digital space, right? So they have grade A honey. They're saying that one is raw honey, one is manuka honey, one is wildflower honey, and they've differentiated their portfolio in that particular way. Now you can diversify your portfolio even more, right? You can then use the honey in beauty products. You can use the honey in a chocolate bar, and that takes you into snack segments. It takes you into more premium offerings, right? So it's your portfolio is something that you really have to design continuously over time. It's not something that you just, well, I make these 5 products and that's it. When you go digital, you have to also think about how are you constantly going to excite and invite customers to continue to use your product or service, all right? And lastly, your store policies is a big part, right? So we would have outlined this earlier. Explaining everything about your policy on your website is very important. You don't want to get into trouble. You don't want to overpromise. You don't want to say it's going to be free delivery and then you can't facilitate that. You want to make sure that you outline your store policy as very clear as possible. And again, if you look at the brand pillars and the brand awareness that I would have discussed earlier, this is how you kind of craft out your store policy. Of course, depending on the country you're in, you have to have certain legal information based on the country that you are operating out of. But you need to make sure and just answer every question as possible. And I find an FAQ page is a great way to answer those questions. So think about what are those questions that people keep asking you over and over. What's the price? How much does it weigh? How much usage do I get out of it? What's the shelf life? These are key elements that you need to make sure and answer, as well as include in your product portfolio. All right. So, I mean, that's the end of my presentation as it stands. But for me, it's now, let me just stop sharing. Right. So if you have any questions, we're going to go through that component. And Fabian and I came up with a particular activity that will sort of reinforce everything that we said. It's going to help you outline and identify your portfolio, and we'll go through that in a little bit. But overall, for this component, it's really to help you understand that if you're going to go into digital and you're going to go into this space, why not maximize on it? Why not make the most impact You're already there existing, and the opportunities are really endless if you just enhance the product description, if you enhance the keyword searches, if you enhance, and again, we're going to be with you guys for once you're in the program along the way, and we're really going to help you navigate how to maximize online, because it's a big investment. This is a great opportunity, but that's what it is. It's a constant investment. Any day someone can search what's the benefits of coconut oil and stumble across your products, right? And you want to make sure that your digital platform is ready for that. It can answer those questions. It can get the customer excited. They can easily pay for it online. And going back to the fundamentals, if you know your brand, if you know what your brand is about, you're able to decide what are the channels, what are the best ways to sell this product to the consumer. All right. So there's a wealth of information. Every day I'm learning something new about, how to manage your online store and what works and what doesn't work. But overall, these are some of the main tips that I think have really helped me grow my business over the years. And we're gonna just share now, I guess, we can do a Q&A component and then describe the activity.
Chris, you want to take the next one, or we go into the assignment piece?
Yeah, I want to ask first if there are any questions from the audience, especially on the example that Rachel went through. Do you have any comments or want to share any doubt? There were many comments of thanks for the presentation, very good, really nice. And also from one of the staff members of Kakamai. You're mute, Rachel.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was not trying to be preferential. I just really chose, the brands that I felt like kind of just immediately told me who they were. But it doesn't mean that you can't improve and enhance on this constantly.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, if there are no questions so far, Fabian, you explain the assignment for Rachel?
Yeah, I can go ahead and take a stab, Rachel, at explaining the assignment.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I want to do, and then Chris, what I also wanted to take kind of 1 or 2 minutes on is to just explain like the next steps and the process of like how we're guiding the participants. These are the two things. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, perfect.
We just got a question, though.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. You want to answer?
Oh, we have another question. We have another question.
Yeah. What do you think? You want to do it at the end? Or?
Yeah, let's do the question first, right? Because it's a question to you. So, right.
Okay. So, so the question is, yes, I do sell. So the Farm and Function, we sell that throughout the Caribbean. We distribute nationwide in Trinidad and Tobago, and then we export to Barbados, Dominica, and St. Lucia.
Rachel?
Yeah.
I think we should mention what the question is, because maybe not everybody has read it. So I'll read the question. I'll read the question. The question was, Rachel, are you selling products from, well, no, you produce frozen products. Do you have problems getting shipping within the region? That was the first,
that was
one,
the
right?
first one. Yeah, sorry. That one. So yes, we do have challenges. So with cold chain in the Caribbean, there's lots of challenges around cold chain distribution because just logistically, there are certain ports that can't accept. But the challenges that we found, how we solved it again was to network and resource. So for instance, our distributor, they currently export ice cream throughout the Caribbean, and we were able to consolidate shipments with them because we do frozen fruits. So these are synergies, and again, you're in a sector here where you're connecting with other coconut oil producers, other cocoa producers, and there are sometimes solutions or synergies that you can form by networking. Relying on a distributor is really important if that's the route that you want to go. Of course, when you're selling online for yourself, you're managing that and just using a third-party shipping solution, I imagine. But overall, I think it's true. Although we had challenges, we found solutions by finding persons within our category and within our sector. So, yes, and the frozen. Okay, I'm going ahead and answering. Sorry.
There are a few other questions here. Well, Rachel, in your sample with sorrel, do you need any phytosanitary permit?
Yes. So for example, for that particular product, the farmer met the good agricultural food safe practices, and then they have it processed within a facility that does meet those phytosanitary requirements. And then it's taken from that processing facility straight to FedEx and shipped straight to restaurants. But it's not large volumes, right? It's maybe like 10 pounds, sometimes 1 to 10 pounds of frozen sorrel. But they do meet it because they use a third-party processing facility that has those certifications. So again, through networking, that's how they do it, solve that solution.
Okay, great. And then last one question about distribution. Is your frozen distributor only shipping from Trinidad?
Yeah, so they manufacture here, so they're shipping from Trinidad to other islands. But of course, again, there's I would love to come Guyana and get pineapples because you guys have amazing pineapples and potentially, process there. So it's really finding the best way to produce the products within your particular product restrictions and categories and things like that. So
yeah. Perfect. And well, so is your fresh sorrel frozen or dry?
Yeah, so the sorrel is frozen. So the seeds are taken out, just the petals, and then it's blast frozen and put in a vacuum seal packet.
Okay, great. And last question, so if you get any special rates from FedEx, when you
so this particular, because it's US shoppers and it's restaurants that are making more value from it, they don't mind paying the shipping fees, but I do think that the retail customer, the general retail customer, sometimes the shipping fees are more than the cost of the product, right? Because it's a food product. So those are challenges, but the retail customers who really want or miss drinking sorrel every Christmas, they're willing to pay that higher rate. So again, it's finding who your customer base is and satisfying that need. But I don't currently get special rates from FedEx or DHL. DHL I do just internally because we have a corporate account. But I think, again, from this, you can negotiate if you come and say, because I've seen it before, where groups of SMEs have gone to DHL and say, okay, we share these same logistical issues, and they've been able to solve that for them. So, I mean, again, it's really about using your network to navigate these challenges.
Perfect. Well, I think this is it now, so far. If you have questions, still put them in the chat, please. I think now it would be good that you guys explain the assignment. So with this assignment, after the call, what we will do is share with you a Google Drive folder where we will ask you to upload your assignment if you want to, so that we can revise it and give you feedback. You're of course more than invited to do it. I'll leave you explain it, Fabian. So if there are questions, it's clear, and then you can complete the assignment.
Perfect. Yeah, I can take a few minutes to explain the assignment, and actually Rachel and I will we'll give you a demonstration of what exactly you need to do. So what we would like you to do is we want you to share your product catalog with us. So this will be essential, right? It's the basis to building the online store. So so we will use this going forward. At the minimum, for those that are selected, those 15 that get selected through the process, like we will be working very tightly and very closely with you. But again, we haven't selected all of you, and that's why we're asking everyone to do the assignment. We're not asking you to give us all your catalog. Let's start with the top 5 products that you have. And so what I've done is I'm going to be sharing a link to Google Forms. And so what you will see when you go to the link is this. So you will see this Google form. I have some instructions in here. So it's very clear instructions. I'm going to be adding a quick instructional video as well that you will see on the assignment. So basically, you know, the steps are: select the 5 top products, add the 5 products to the catalog template. So we have a catalog template that Rachel created for us. Let me show it to you real quick. It looks like this. So it's a simple Excel sheet that you will find in the attachment, and we're asking you to fill in the details for 5 products. So what are we asking you to add? So we need your brand name, we need a short product description, we need a longer product description, country of origin, specifications, like for example here, frozen -18 degrees Celsius. Then if you have a UPC code, or if you have basically a barcode, then you can share it. If you don't have it, don't worry yet. This is something, you know, we'll get to as we move along the process, but you're not going to be left behind. If you don't have a UPC code, it's fine. Weight, dimensions, shelf life, and then we want you to give us an indication of what your target sales price is. We're gonna use this later on when we have our later sessions. We'll refer back to this, but for now we just need this. For your 5 top products. The last thing to mention here, there's a field here that asks you to like add your photos for each product to a shared folder. I'm also sharing the link to the shared folder. Everything is in the instructions in the assignment. So all you need to know is that you will need to go to the link of the assignment, and then you will find the steps. So that's the assignment. What I would like to do as well is I would like to give you the context of why we're asking you to do this and how this is embedded in like the broader scope. So if I may do that briefly.
Sure. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So it's one of a couple of assignments that we're asking you to do. So for context, again, like let's recap, like what is our objective, right? Our objective is for you to connect to international buyers and to sell to them. And how do we do this? By creating an online store for you, right? And so I realized like today, you know, was rather, I would say it's key theoretical points, but all of these points that we've discussed, like we're mentioning them now because we will be applying these things when we work together. Just so you're clear in your head on where we are now and where we're going. So the steps to get your store live, like we have to start by preparing the catalog, so we know what's going to be on your store. Then we will register together. We will be connecting the payment gateway so you can receive payments from international customers. We will be configuring your shipping returns policies together. We will be designing your storefront together. And then once the store is ready, then for those, you know, for those who make it further on to the next steps, there is again, like there's the opportunity of deploying your inventory into the target market using the warehouse, and then also getting funded to promote your store through advertising. So those are the steps, and it all starts with the product catalog. And so on the one hand, we need this product catalog. On the other hand, we also, as I mentioned at the beginning, we wanted to make this process a little bit competitive, and we want to know who among you is really committed. And you will see it takes a little bit of work to do this assignment. It's not going to take you a huge amount of work. Maybe you have this information ready, so it might take an hour or two, but it's a way for us to just also see like who really wants to move forward.
There's a couple of people asked in the group, when is the last day to make the assignment? Any suggestions? I would say the last day would be the next session or a bit before.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, actually, in the assignment, I noted the deadline. Chris, I realized we haven't discussed it, but the tentative deadline was 9th of July. Reason I want to do that is that's sufficient time, I think, for everybody. You want to slot it in at some point. Also, next week, we have our next webinar on logistics, and then we have a practical webinar. And in the practical webinar, I want to take some time to just review questions with regards to the assignment, and that will happen on the 5th of July. And that means like between the 5th and the 9th of July, anybody who has issues, questions, whatever, we can clarify on the 5th, and then you still have like 4 days to complete it. So this is what I suggest. So unless you have any issues with it, I would say we communicate, we say it's the 9th of July.
And
Perfect.
we have another question too.
Okay. Yeah.
If the sales price is including shipping, so no, it's supposed to be what your sales price is, and then your cart will calculate the shipping after, right, Fabian?
Yeah, the most helpful for us, I think for us, the most helpful is that you give us, so there's two things that can be helpful to us. On the one hand, we have like your kind of cost price. So meaning like what is the price you would sell if you didn't make any profit. But more helpful, I think, is if you give us like your local retail price, and we can then work from there. Like the local retail price already usually includes like your margin that you're happy to work with, and then we can, if you give us, so in short, if you give us your local retail price, that's a good basis to work from, because from there, what we will be doing is we'll work together to add any fees, selling fees that I mentioned, those 6%. And then we will also be factoring in any logistics fees. So yeah, the local retail price would be helpful, unless anybody,
I think that helps.
unless Rachel, you think differently?
Yeah, I think that helps, because remember, part of the activities is that we're going to look at the competitor pricing. So it's see where they're starting at. But I know with export pricing, you tend to work backwards. Well, I find that strategy tends to work, where you look at what the marketplace, the standard pricing is to be competitive. And then you sort of work backwards to see where you were pricing yourself, to see, okay, and there may be opportunities for you to make better margins if you just, you might be underselling in your current market, right? So I think definitely put the price that you currently sell at on your local markets.
Yeah, we can start from there, and I agree completely, Rachel. Like what we're trying to do is like, we want to maximize the margins you have, and if the market price, say the US market price for your product is higher than the local one, which will definitely be the case, that's the price that we will keep in mind. And like in session number 3, this is where we focus on pricing and competition. So don't worry, like we'll look at this in detail. But the idea is always, as you say, Rachel, we look at what is the price in the market, we work backwards from it. In terms of the list, it's always good for us to have an understanding of like the local price. So let's do it this way. If there's any changes, like you'll see it in the assignment. But like Rachel, I think we're aligned. Let's do the local retail price, and go from there.
Perfect. Yeah, anyways, we will be sharing with you also an email with the recording, the presentation, and a summary of the assignment so that it's clear for you. No more questions in the chat. Thank you very much. Very interesting and informative. Thank you. Okay.
I think we're great.
You've done a good work. Yeah, and thanks everyone for being so active in the chat as well. I think that's it, right? Anything else we want to mention?
I would just maybe just the next stages. Maybe we can recap that, just that everybody is clear on what's happening next, and then that's it.
Yeah. So again, just in case, this was one of the first webinar of our series on e-commerce. As you know, we're also meeting next Tuesday at the same time for 2 hours to go through the next content. This will last until almost the end of July. You're receiving communications from us so that you register in each event. And for this, so today, what Rachel and Fabian just explained is that we ask you to do an assignment, which is going to help us choose the 15 companies later for the project. This assignment, we will explain it anyways by email, but you need to complete a form on the content that you've created, and then we will give you feedback. Of course, you're not forced to do it. It's an option, but we need this so that you qualify to the next phase. And if you have any questions, you have our contact details, so you can reach out to us. I don't know if anyone else has any questions. You can unmute yourself as well if you want to, if you prefer to talk. Doesn't look like, but yeah, wait for our emails and you'll have all the information again. Okay. I think that's it. So we'll see you next Tuesday then. Thanks a lot, Fabian. Thanks a lot, Rachel. Thanks, Ben, as well for organizing this. I'm really looking forward to seeing, you know, the impact of this work in the companies. So we'll have a good Tuesday and see you next week.